Okay, so what happens when a top Stanford scientist, someone who dedicates his life to solving the puzzle of cancer, points all of his super powerful tools at a mystery that's totally out there? I mean, at the very edge of our reality. That's what we're going to dive into. We're talking about Dr. Garry Nolan and how his day job fighting for our health crashed right into the search for the unknown.
And this quote? This is everything for him. It's the idea that drives his work. See, Nolan isn't interested in just confirming what we already think we know. He's looking for the weird stuff, the outliers, the anomalies. That piece of data that makes a scientist just stop, look at their screen and go, wait a second, that's not supposed to happen. His entire career has basically been built on chasing down one of the biggest, most complicated anomalies there. All right, so before we get to the really mind-bending stuff, we first have to understand what Dr. Nolan does for his day job. And believe me, it's just as complex. He investigates one of the biggest anomalies happening right now inside our own bodies, and that's cancer. Yeah, you heard that right. Inside your body, right this second, there's a constant, silent war going on. Your immune system is on patrol 24/7, hunting down and destroying cells that have gone rogue. And most of the time, thankfully, it wins. But sometimes it doesn't. And this is where Nolan's analogy of a devious dance comes in. A tumor isn't just some dumb brute forcing its way through your body. No, it's smart. It evolves, it learns, and it actually manipulates its partner in this dance, your own immune system. It tricks it, not just to be ignored, but to actually help it, to feed it and let it spread. So how does it pull this off? Well, think of it like this. Your healthy cells are constantly showing off proteins on their surface, kind of like a security badge that tells your immune system, hey, I'm a friend, all good in here. But a cancer cell, it gets crafty. It learns how to turn off those signals, basically hiding its badge. It goes into stealth mode, becoming invisible while all that chaos is happening on the inside. What's really fascinating is how Nolan thinks about this. He doesn't see cancer as some kind of advanced evolution. He sees it as a devolution. It's like a cell breaking its ancient social contract with the rest of the body, the one that lets trillions of cells work together. Instead, it goes rogue. It reverts back to this primitive, selfish state with only one mission: divide, divide, divide. Okay, so you've got this super complex dance happening. To understand it, Nolan and his team had a massive problem. They needed to see what was going on. They needed a bigger dance floor, right? A way to watch way more of the dancers, and all their moves all at the same time. For the longest time, the tech scientists were using could only look at about 3 things, 3 proteins on a cell at once. Just 3. Imagine trying to understand a massive riot by only being allowed to watch 3 people. You get a tiny piece of the story, sure, but you would completely miss the big picture. So, what did Nolan's lab do? They invented something new. A revolutionary technology that let them see over 50 proteins at the same time. Suddenly, it's not just watching 3 people in a riot anymore. Now, you can see the whole crowd. You can see how every single person, every cell type, is interacting. But this incredible breakthrough created a whole new problem. A huge one. A data deluge. Suddenly, they had so much information pouring in from millions of cells, it was completely overwhelming. No single human, not even a big team, could ever hope to make sense of it all. It was like they'd built this massive fire hose of data, but were trying to drink from it with a tiny cup. And that's when they brought in a brand new kind of partner to help them navigate all that chaos, an artificial intelligence. Nolan has this great name for it. He calls it an immunologist scientist in a box. It's basically a custom-built AI that his team created to be the ultimate research assistant. And this thing is an absolute game changer. It just plows through all that raw data from millions of cells. It comes up with thousands of potential ideas, hypotheses, about how all these cells are talking to each other. And then, and this is the really crucial part, it tells the human scientists the exact experiments they need to run next to test those ideas. Get this, a process that used to take months of grinding, human work, now it can be done in just about 3 hours. Okay, so let's recap. We've got the mindset. Always look for the data that doesn't fit. And we've got the tools, a super powerful AI that can make sense of insane amounts of complexity. Now, this is where the story takes a turn, because we're about to see how all of this builds to something truly extraordinary. What happens when that data off the curve isn't just a weird reading from a cancer cell? What happens when it's something that points to a reality so far beyond what we think we know? So how did he get pulled into all this? Well, it all started kind of unexpectedly. He analyzed this thing called the Atacama mummy. He proved, with hard science, that it was a human female with some really severe genetic mutations, not an alien. But publishing that work, it was like sending up a flare. Suddenly, people from the CIA and a major aerospace company just show up at his office, unannounced. They ask him to help analyze medical data from military personnel who were harmed by some mysterious force, cases we now know as the first Havana syndrome patients. And that work opened yet another door, which led him right into the world of analyzing alleged materials recovered from UAP encounters.
And through this entire wild ride, Nolan approached these bizarre new mysteries with the exact same mindset he uses to fight cancer. Totally impartial, data first. No belief systems, no jumping to conclusions, just what does the data say? That's it. And that brings us to one very specific piece of material. It was a sample of magnesium, supposedly from a UAP event way back in the 1950s in a place called Ubatuba, Brazil. Now, Nolan didn't care about the story behind it. He just wanted the data. Specifically, he wanted to look at its atomic signature. He was interested in the ratio of its magnesium isotopes, which are really just slightly different flavors of the same element.
And this is where things get really, really weird. See, on Earth, and as far as we know, everywhere else in our solar system, magnesium always follows a standard recipe. It's about 79% of one isotope, 10% of another, and 11% of a third. It's predictable. But the Ubatuba sample, its ratios were just completely different, off the charts. This wasn't some tiny little error. It was a massive, profound scientific anomaly.
So, of course, the big question is, what on earth could do that? How could this happen? So Nolan had some physicists at Stanford run the numbers. They asked a simple question: what would it take to turn normal everyday magnesium into this stuff?
The answer they got back is just staggering. The calculation showed that to do this, you would need to bombard normal magnesium with a super powerful neutron source. Okay, but how powerful? We're talking about the energy equivalent of an atomic bomb blast going off every few seconds. And you'd have to keep that up continuously for 900 years. This is not just an anomaly anymore. It's evidence of some kind of process so far beyond anything we can do, it might as well be magic. This, right here, is the ultimate data off the curve. And so that leaves us with one final big question. We've seen how Dr. Nolan's career proves that studying just one weird data point from a cancer cell can lead to new medicines that save millions of lives. So what happens when we finally decide to seriously study an anomaly that seems to break our understanding of physics itself? If we follow that data, where will it lead? What could that unlock for all of us?